Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Acolyte Mary Power Rankings for CLDL Season 5. I'm Clod9 here with...
TheSharkFinnigan, your lovely moderator.
And we're here for two reasons. One, to give valuable PR or rankings and whatnot, and for me to give my own take on how huggable your team is. And how much I want to hug them. The real PRs that matter. And I will be putting together a full list of all this for later.
Yeah.
But without further ado, let's just jump right on in. Because Mary is by far the most huggable of all the mascots that we have. And
it really is.
It really is.
I mean, look at it. Look at it. Look how beautiful it is.
Ugh.
Look at Goomy. Goomy's the best.
My favorite is the top left Sfeel Goomy.
I know. When I was putting this together, I'm like, oh my gosh, this feel is awesome. I have to put it in there.
Yes. Okay. First team we have is Farmer Fox and the... Oh, gosh.
Elishel and Taze.
That's it. Okay.
Yep. Which, just to start, like, oh, this is a good little E-terrain little synergy there with Tapu Koko and Iron Crown. That's a nice little pair there.
I wish there were more.
To get your Fairy Steel duo.
I like pairing Koko with more than one Iron Pokemon. Like, I wish Cinderace was an Iron Moth.
Yeah.
Or something.
It would be nice to have a little bit more, but I don't think it's too bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I always want more. But just looking off of the team and what I see here, first thing I notice is there's a ground weakness. That's not something you want with Koko.
It's a lot of them, honestly. And your two flyings are Togekiss, which also sort of shares some weaknesses with Koko, and then Rotom-Mow, which also shares the same weakness, the poison.
Yeah. That's the thing is poison and ground are very good against this team, especially when your only resist. The only resist to ground is Dipplin.
Yeah, which isn't bad, but it's a Dipplin.
It's exactly. Great, you do have Terra, Houndstone.
You do have.
I guess is okay.
Rotom-Mow, you can be able to change that around, which is not bad. And Houndstone's
but it already
pretty
has
fun.
Levitate, so. That's the first thing I noticed there. If I look over to the speed stat, speed tiers look pretty good.
Yeah, speed tiers are pretty fine. Hazards aren't great. Hazard control, like Defog's great, but
Defog's fine, but they're only having 2 hazards and then being on lower tiered Mons is not always the best, especially when neither of them can Terra.
Yeah, you do have Cinderace to court change, which is at least punishes them again, like the reverse setup. But
a lot of momentum.
One
knockoff user is not fun, but
yeah, you don't have the strongest of breakers though. It's really like Koko with the terrain, and you have Keldeo.
That's it. You're especially kind of weak.
And crowned.
It doesn't feel very offensive to me, just because Koko, like, your highest attacker is a 125 Mudsdale base attack, and your highest special attack is 122 Iron Crown.
Or 29 Keldeo, but Crown probably will get the...
Yeah.
But Crown's going to have probably plus special attack in Fork Drive, so that's probably your actually strongest one.
Yeah.
Most of the time, but still, there's nothing naturally that just has that... Because I always look at 130. 130 is your baseline, and if that's... Because you want something that can always break through, like... do two hit KO anything, and I don't see that.
Yeah, that
as
is
much
my
with this team.
Fear with this team is someone getting a good bulky set, or them tearing a lower tier mon that can set up, and suddenly you can't break through it. Especially like I don't want to say like granted, something with water absorb that can Terra looks incredible versus this team. Just because I'm thinking like you can Terra ground with water absorb, and suddenly it's your only way to get through it is Rotom. That's just like, my immediate thought is, ground looked very strong versus this team, and it still looks very strong if you can get through Keldeo and even Mow. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I would definitely look like the Houndstone Dipplin. even then, like, you have 2 fairies. I don't think you need the Togekiss. I think the Rotom down could be shifted around to get some more hazards and maybe some better coverage to help with the ground and poison weakness.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much where I see. It's still not. It has some potential, but I'm just curious how it'll unfold.
Yeah,
it's definitely probably like a 7 out of 10.
I was gonna go like 6 out of 10.
Ooh,
but
how about 6.5?
Sure,
because you still have. I would still say there's still like you still like a good trio. Like you have a decent trio.
You have a decent trio.
Trio.
I'm also very harsh
kind
with
of
my
basing.
PRs just in advance. I'm sorry. But yeah, I would give it a 6.5 on the normal PR scale. On the other PR scale, it is on the huggability. Let's see.
Yeah.
I would hug Tapu Koko. I would hug Cinderace. I would hug Keldeo. I would hug Iron Crown. I don't know if I'd want to hug Rotom though. Mo, at least.
Yeah, Mo, it's probably gonna emit a bunch of gas fumes. Well, I guess it could be one of the electric mowers, so it's still.
I would be fearing for my life more than anything else. But I would hug Togekiss. I would not hug Low Muck. That scares me. I would hug Miltank. I would hug Mudsdale. I would definitely hug Dipplin. Houndzone, I don't think I would want to hug.
Yeah, but it's a good dog.
It is a good boy. You're right. I'd hug it.
Yeah, it's a good boy.
Right, so you get a 9.
This is actually, honestly,
9 out of 11. No Motom, no Muck on the huggability.
Yeah, agree. I think that's pretty much, it's like you could almost like, but even then it's like if you want to like half a hug Houndzone just because it's Ghost, but then it's like half a hug Rotom because it's still like, it is a mower, you could hold it, so it's like,
All right,
I
would give both them half points, and we make it 9 out of 11 either way.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's where I kind of see it at. Yeah, so 9 out of 11 huggability.
9 out of 11 huggability, the important PR. Great. Next one. All right, we got Potato Enigma and the Gastro Gang. All right. Oh, that went back. There we go.
All right. So, we got one of the better Terras out of captains that you could have this season with Sandy Shocks. Because one, it's actually like, I don't have the point value shown here, but it's actually like bang for your buck for an electric type. The ones that you want to Terra Ice, it's got the most bang for your buck in being not that much more than the base form, but also like it's still just like very good at doing a bunch of different things with its Terra.
It only lacks move pool, but even then it's not that bad.
Which that coverage, the Terra Blast coverage helps, would give it that. But I mean, I like the fact that it's a spiker.
Yeah.
It's a hazard setter.
Like, there's a lot of really good mons here. Just off the back, it looks fine to me. I don't see any... just looking at the Pokemon, let me move over to the types. Okay. Fire, Ice look kind of...
Your Primarina and your Quillfish are going to be pushed. You could definitely use Sandy Shock. You probably can get rid of your Ice and or Fire, depending on your Sandy Shock choice.
Sandy Shock, Terra Water might be forced more often than you want.
Still, it wouldn't be bad. Water, electric, ground hits pretty much most things neutrally.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be bad.
No,
I'm not opposed to.
There's just a lot of ice weaknesses that we're seeing. And ice is just a very prominent offensive typing. Like, Bolt Beam destroys this team.
Bolt Beam,
granted, minus Terra.
But I mean, to be fair, Bolt Beam destroys most teams.
Correct.
But, I mean,
but like, it's super effective against, I think, everything but Meloetta and Excadrill.
Yeah.
Which is just, it's fine. It's just that's the immediate thought of where I go to. Other resistances look pretty good.
Yeah. Your speed tier is great. Your hazard control is great.
So I disagree. I don't think the speed tier is that good, and that's because the top end is too widespread. I think. Because 115 do 115s get to run Adamant?
I don't think so. Let's see.
I don't know where the cutoff is for 101.
What's a base 115 speed Pokemon?
Persian.
Persian.
Why is that the first thing I think of for 115?
Sandy Shocks. Sandy Shocks. No, you cannot run adamant on.
Okay. So
Or you have to. You can on Persian.
Okay, then I guess it's fine.
It's fine. It's just enough.
It depends.
It is.
It's going to become a mind game of if they don't have anything else, like if they don't have a base 100, you're going to lower your speed, meaning you don't have to run as much speed, so it's. I wish there was something else in that gap between 100 and 123.
Yeah, I would say it would be nice. I don't think it's super critical, but it would be nice. But I will say, literally though,
otherwise
you weren't wrong thinking if Sandy Shocks was base 100, adamant Persian is a thing.
Yes. So okay,
but
the 101 saves it a little bit.
101 timid saves it just by 2 points.
Yeah. I do look. The team looks very defensively. I say defense. Like you have one defender, like physical defense mon, and that's Skarmory, and your special defender is Meloetta. And I guess Primarina to an extent.
Primarina is a good special defense.
It doesn't get recovery, so I don't see it as that very much. But I'd be worried this team hits very hard, but may not be able to take as many hits, which could be a problem. You have a lot of, like I said, hazards look great. A lot of hazards. Maybe even too many hazards.
It's possible. The Miascarada is the only one I'm kind of like, it could be a little bit of different mon, but I don't think this team is bad any stretch.
I like Miascarada a lot.
Yeah, I do. I like it a lot, but I wonder if it could be something else. That or potentially the Excadrill. Because it is kind of...
Yes. So, if I were to make changes to this team, the Miascarada or the Excadrill, maybe even the Meloetta, I would consider swapping around for something else. Because just looking, you do not have a fighting type, or a fighting type. I think fighting types are very, very strong. So...
Meloetta. Yeah, it's a half a fighting type. It's not a true fighting type.
It takes 2 turns to get going.
Yeah, I agree. It's just like it's almost a fighting type.
Even Quillfish, I could see being switched for something else. Like, what I think would really help is if you take Quillfish and Excadrill and replace it with like a Nido.
Like a Nido would be interesting.
Nido Queen, Nido King might fit really, really well in here, just because it gives you a little bit more. Nido Queen specifically would give you some more bulk, and then gives you another mon that you can play around with. Yeah, I think those are the big things. I mean, Terragogo and Terra Murkrow are memes, but I think I like this more than the Entei's team. I can't tell if I like it as much, or I don't know.
Maybe just probably 7 out of 10.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, just a smidge better.
Yeah, 7 out of 10, and then on the huggability ratio.
This is I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on this team, because I could see it go very high or very low.
So Dragapult, I would hug Dragapult. It's a good ghosty boy. I would gladly hug that. Sandy Shocks, I would not. I would be terrified. That's
sort of fair, because it does have some. Yeah, it might not be the best hugger.
No, I don't think it would give good hugs back either. Meowscarada, I would hug. Easy. Skarmory, I don't think I would, because I don't think it would be able to hug me back, and I would want to hug back. And
I'd pet it.
I would pet it, but I wouldn't give it a hug. Yeah. I would pet a lot of Pokemon more than I would hug them. Primarina would get a hug, easy. Gogout would get a hug, easy. Excadrill, I would try. I would really try to give it a hug. 1, 2, 3.
It could give a decent hug, probably. It's a half. Give it a half.
Okay, I'll give it a half. That's 4.5. Quillfish, no. No.
Yeah,
not
sorry, Quillfish. It's too risky.
And then definitely the last 2. Definitely Meloetta, definitely Murkrow. So that's 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. 6.5 out of how many? They only have 10 months.
6.55 out of 10. Yep.
Okay, you get 6.5 out of 10. The huggability ratio. At the moment, you're in second, but we'll see what the rest of the teams bring.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Edooster and the Melbourne Reshiram. Oh gosh, okay, there it is.
All right. And this team, you got a pretty potent offensive duo.
Oh, yeah.
Like, with the first 2. Like, those guys are going to hit pretty much unresisted on every team.
This is my type of, like... I like a team like this a lot. just because you have a lot of power, you have some good bulk to back it up, you have a lot of pivot, and you have a bunch of fun things. It does feel like you have to rely on the top 2 a lot.
But those would be 2 I'd be happy to rely upon, because Qian Pao, with its ability, is a breaker, even though it doesn't have the hot attack stack, but it does have that breaker, and
My only fear would be they're both physical attackers, and they both get walled by fairy. Kind of.
Well, the good thing is you do have a Terra that could help boost to stop. One, it resists fairy, but also
until it tears,
can punish fairies.
Could, yes. You do have Corviknight, and you do have Pheasantipity, and you have Nihilego, which all can take on the fairy weakness.
And Rotom too can even defensively just check it. So you've
Very,
got a
very
lot.
true.
So you've got 4 fairy resists right there.
So I understand, like. They built well around, I think, the top 2.
Yeah. The lack of Terra options, I mean, I guess you're just going to have to... I mean, you're just relying on Fez, but that's fine.
The only... type-wise, the team looks good on paper. Ice will always be a little worrying to me, just because... you'll have answers to it, but I don't like Qian Pao being your ice resist, one of the ice resists.
Well, you have Renamo, and I mean, the fact is that only, like, the bottom 2 are the only ice weak mons, so it's not like...
That's true.
You're not bringing them you're not bringing both of them every week. You're bringing maybe one.
I think it's a very solid team. I think it works well.
For sure.
A Psychic would maybe be the only thing I'd be worried about if I had to pick a type, but you have a Qian Pao.
You do have a Qian Pao.
This looks really, really solid.
It's hard to... I would just be careful if they start setting up, cosmic power, stored power, like, shenanigans. If that's something, you better be careful.
Yeah, something that can do that, that's low tier, that can Terra Fairy, would be the only thing I'd be worried about, maybe. Or something like that. But you have...
that...
It looks really, really strong as a team. Speed tier-wise, looks great. You might be a little weak to Trick Room. Might. But that's about it.
It's a might, but it might be a little bit... Not... you have some hazards, but not a ton.
It feels like every time Swampert comes, it has to run rocks. Is the only problem. So. You have a lot of momentum, which is really, really solid. But you don't even need hazards. I mean, thing is, Qian Pao and Medicham really like a lot of hazards. So I wish there was a spiker on this team.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I would want would be a spiker on this team somewhere. That's not just toxic spikes from Nihilego.
Yep.
I guess that's the only change I would say, is if you could find a way to get a spiker, but then it hurts your speed core, so I don't know. It's that, and doesn't seem very specially offensive.
You've got some good special attackers, but yeah, I can see that. I mean, you do have Meteor Beam, Nihilego. You do have...
I'm pointing out the worries
Nasty Plot
that I
Rotom.
see.
But yeah.
Overall, I think I would give this maybe an 8.5 or a 9. Maybe a 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, we can put 9 out of 10. It's pretty strong.
I think it's really solid. I think it's going to be hard to break through this. I think there's like maybe 1 or 2 Pokemon that are going to be difficult for you to deal with. And that's about it. Otherwise, it comes down to playing and whatnot. Yeah. All right. Hug ability. Let's look at this. So, I would hug Qian Pao. It's a cute boy. It's like another doggo. Medicham, I would hug. Corviknight, I would hug. It's a bird. Pheasantipity, I would also hug, but I'd wear a jacket. I don't want to get poisoned.
Yeah.
Swampert, I would hug. Rotom Heat, I don't know if I'd hug. I'd give it the 0.5 like I would with...
the only difference is it's going to be... It depends if it will be on. The oven will be on.
Exactly,
so.
And that's the problem. Granted, it would be warm, and I do love a nice warm hug, but I don't want to
burn. True. Warm hugs are good. So, yeah, I give it a half. And you
can see it has little hands, too. So, yeah, I would hug Rotom Heat. We would deal with it.
Yeah. Just deal with it. Just wear a jacket so you don't get burned.
Yeah. Another jacket. Nihilego, I don't know. that
Yeah,
it could
that's
hug, and it creeps me out, and it can take over my mind, and I don't think I want that. So I'm gonna say no to Nihilego, but I would definitely hug Cyclozar. Sinistra, lore-wise, I don't know.
Lore-wise, don't know, but it is a small little teacup, so you could hug it.
And I could hug it, and it would give me a tiny little hug back because it's the tiny little arms. So let's say yes.
Yeah.
So that looks like an 8 out of 9. On the
Yeah, I think so.
8 out of 9 in the huggability.
Yeah, it's like there's a couple of halves in here and some conditionals like Nihilego maybe, Rhoda maybe,
Pheasantipity maybe. The other one's
so 8 out of 9 is pretty good.
8 out of 9 is what I'm aiming for, I think, with this. It fits. All right. Bloop and the Moody Marshadow. Okay. What do you see here?
I see a pretty again another strong, very good offensive duo. Annihilate can break through most things. Darkrai can break through most, can help break through some of the same things. You do have Fairy weakness with the top two.
And the team
that looks very similar to the team we just looked at.
Yes. Thing is, the other team, I think.
But you do have better offensive. It's a better, in a sense, it's a better duo in that you have a special attacker and a physical attacker.
But so it's worse in the fact that they're slower, and they're both. I mean, they're both all weak to Fairy. I think I still prefer the other team overall. I do love Ferrothorn and Screamtail. I think those are great pawns. Terra Moltres is a great mon here. I love Milotic. I don't like Palmot. I think Palmot's a trap.
That's fair, because I don't... Yeah, I mean, it's just going to spam DualShock at best, because it's not going to do much else. I like Cryogonal here. Drapion's great.
If we look towards weaknesses, I'd be a little worried with the electric. There's no ground type. Alright, you don't have a ground type, but I think that's massively important. Not having a dragon's not the worst thing. It does hurt some of your weaknesses quite a bit, but like resistances, I should say.
Palmot's not in a ground or an electric community. No. I mean, it's kind of like ish, but it's like kind of would.
You don't want to run Volt Absorb on it.
Yeah, exactly. You want to run Iron Fist so your dual shocks can actually do damage.
Being very weak to fighting is not a good thing. I understand you have an immunity with Annihilate, and you have, Screamtail that can resist and Moltres, but otherwise your team doesn't handle it.
Yeah.
Like,
Moltres can burn it, but still, it's like,
that worries me. No flying resist is bad.
Yeah, because your electric type is not, and your steel type is not.
Correct.
So,
granted, this would have been a team Sandy Shocks fit well on, but too late. And then also being just weak to Fairy is just not the best thing in the world.
Hazard control is good. Speed is
say.
Okay.
So speed tiers I don't like. The reason why I don't like it is it's way too top heavy. It's so incredibly top heavy that half the time I wouldn't run speed and I would just run full bulk and I could live a lot of these hits because you're not hitting very, very hard. You have a Darkrai and then Moltres. Those are your special attackers, and your physical attacker is Palmot and Annihilate. That doesn't feel very good. So, I think what I would recommend here would be drop the Palmot, maybe drop the Chinchino, and drop maybe the Drapion, and the bottom four I don't like. Like, Palmot through Cryogonal is not my favorite, and I would pick up a ground type. If Zygarde is around, grab Zygarde. Even Zydog works here. But I think you need that ground type. I think you need a psychic type, or I think you need something else that can help fight these fighting types resist. If you get rid of those four, you lose two of the fighting type weaknesses, which helps. But grab a better electric. Grab a ground type. If you can grab a dragon too, grab a dragon. But I mean, I like Drapion. I'll maybe keep the Drapion out of those three. But Palmot, Chinchino, Cryogonal does not feel good because you're not going to want to bring them to most games.
Yeah.
And Moltres being the only real defog is kind of forcing it into a role, and having me or Terramon, you don't want to have to do that every week. especially
That's
when
true.
especially
Yeah,
when
Cragnall can do the same thing. It's
Yeah.
the same issue-ish. So
the fact that Moltres' main use right now is to check your fighting types. It can't Terra, or if it's tearing to just flying or something else. It's also forced to run heavy duty boots a lot. Granted, Terra helps a little bit with that. So finding something else that could help unpressure that, it may be worth even looking at like Tentacruel and switching out Milotic as well.
yeah, something like that wouldn't be terrible. But yeah, it could use a little bit of help. But it's not like it has some potential.
It definitely has a lot of potential. I would give it a solid 7.5.
I was thinking a little lower. But let's see, we can do 7.
7?
7 or 6.5. Do you like it better than Farmer Fox's?
Oh, let me
compared to Farmer Fox's team, it hits harder.
No.
I don't. Not better than that.
I can't tell.
Is it the same? This hits harder, but it's not as good.
This was our 7. Yeah, this was our 7. I like it more or less than this.
I like it a little less than.
I like it less
because it has more rolls.
6.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's getting a 6.5 on the PR
because there's
ranking.
Good. Yeah. It's got a lot of the rolls filled, but yeah, again, the speed is weird. And the typing could be shifted a little better. Yeah. So,
all right, let's look at
those rolls better.
Darkrai, I'd hug it. I'd be scared, but I'd hug it.
I'd probably have nightmares afterwards.
That's fine. Annihilate, I'd hug. It's a monkey. It can hug. Ferrothorn, no. Absolutely not.
Yeah, sadly, it cannot hug.
Screamtail, yes. Moltres,
if it Terras, yes. If it doesn't,
if the flames are on and I don't have to touch the flames, sure. So maybe even a half on that. Milotic, yes. All right, we're at 4.5. Palmot, yes. That's 5.5. Drapion, yes.
Yep.
6.5. Chinchino, 7.5. Cragnole.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be able to hug me back.
It's a nice. Snowflake. It wouldn't be nice. It would be fine. Maybe if you don't want to, then maybe a half.
I'd give it a half.
I think you could still hug it. I'd still hug it.
I think a 9 out of 11 is where this fits for huggability.
Well, it's 8 out of 10.
Oh, 10. 8 out of 10. Sorry. 8 out of 10.
Yep.
There we go. All right. Next one.
All right.
Ooh, Speak No Evil and the Oblong Obstagoon.
This team is one I like a lot.
Okay.
Because the Fire Water Grass Court is awesome. Because I was watching, like, when I was seeing this drafted, when I see Gouging Fire, okay, a little early, but it's a new mon. I understand you got to draft it early right now. This, like, during the first, 6 months. Goldingo, I'm like, okay, that's a great round 2 pickup. Okay, cool. Palafin, yes.
How did that last around 3?
In my head, I'm like, this team needs a Rillaboom. And it finally came around. He got the Rillaboom. I'm like, yes, finally, they fit so well. Like, that's such a powerful Firewater Grass core.
Yeah. There are things I like and don't like about it. It's very top heavy. There's a lot of really high, really expensive mons, and I don't think they all fit together. And I say that because of Sneasler. Sneasler is the odd one out here for me.
It gives you the speed this team needs.
Yes, but I don't think it's
you
worth
do
the
have
price.
The price of it, that's kind of fair.
Because for what the rest of the team offers, Gouging Fire is physical. Palafin is physical. Rillaboom is physical. You're just adding physical on top of physical on top of physical this entire time. And I think that is the weak point for me. As weird as this, Sneasler's the weak point of the team. Because if you look at the typing chart, no electric type never feels good. Granted, but that's fine.
Honestly, I think it's okay. It's just, it does stink, but it's like, I think it's okay. I don't think you need an electric type.
Your defensive core is kind of weak to ice. You are weak to ground. I mean, with Donphan Mandibuzz, there's also no terror on this team.
I mean, you have Goldingo as a decent defensive check.
I guess, but you're forcing Goldingo to beat... So the reason why I say that is Goldingo's your only special attacker.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't sit right with me. because it's kind of forced to take your ice resists. That and Palafin. You are weak to ground, but you have the Rillaboom, so unless it's special ground, which would be much worse for you. Otherwise, typing Tart seems fine. Speed tier wise, you don't have anything between 100 and 120, which means the 115s get to run wild.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just an important speed tier to have, so that worries me slightly. The back end's fine, ish. I would say a 70 something, anything below Goldengo could run Adamant or Modest fairly freely because you're not running a lot of speed in Mandibuzz, Weezing, or Donphan very often. So that's the only worry I'd worry about there. So the team feels very top heavy. You have one real rocker and a knackle stack.
Yeah.
You have decent removal. And I guess, I don't know, that's just my thoughts on this. I think, personally, I would drop the Sneasler and the knackle stack and grab something else that's fast.
Or split the Sneasler into 2 mons. I think that's fine. Or switch a Mandibuzz around it. With
also
the
get a Terra.
Or
not having a Terra Terra feels bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's a choice. It allowed him to get some better mons. I mean, Sneasler is pretty good even instead of some of these other Terra options. But yeah.
It's that's just the weak point for me is the Sneasler. I get it, but you need a special attacker. I would drop Sneasler for an electric type that can, like, almost like a Raikou would fit really well.
Yeah, we'll see Raikou later though. So
yeah, I know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like a fast electric type that can hit specially would be very good. Even Thundurus Therian, all of those would fit well, and just have something else and then recover the speed. I know you really liked this team, and I'm sorry I tore it apart.
No, it's fair. I think it's still like a good core. I don't think you could rate this lower than like a 8, 7.5. It's still like it's up there.
I was gonna give it a 7.
Oh no, it's way better than the Dragapult team. Yes, it can. You have Goldingo, you have Weezing, you've got, Rillaboom's bulky, gouging, you're underrating Gouging Fire.
I am underrating a lot of these ones, but you're right. Okay. I believe you to rank this because I'm clearly biased.
I give it an 8.
8 it is.
Because I think all of his offense is bulk. There's a lot of bulk offense here.
Yes, and it is bulky offense.
And I agree, the Sneasler could help fill it could break down to fill some of the gaps there. But otherwise, I think it's still a good team. I think it's a really good team.
I think it has potential. You drop Sneasler and Knackle Stack and grab, some 3 other Mons, and one of them being Terra, you have a much better, I think, team in that spot.
Or you could just keep the Knackle Stack and just make it a Terra. I think it's still good. I think it's still good and bulky.
Is it the same price, too?
I think it's maybe a point more.
Okay, well.
For Terra.
Let's go to hug ability. Gouging Fire, I would hug. It's a good boy.
I think you could get. I'm wondering what your score is. I have a prediction of what I would. I have a prediction of what I would probably give this.
So Gouging Fire, hug. Goldengo, hug. Palafin, hug. Weezing, probably not.
I mean, I think it's clean steam that it's shooting out. It's not gas. Yeah, I think you could hug this. It's not going to be as poisonous as you would think.
Okay, it's better than normal Weezing. That is true.
That's true. It's not toxic fumes, I don't think. It's more clean energy.
If that's the case, then I'll give it a half a point because it can't hug me back. That's what I'm going off of. Sneasler, I would hug. Rillaboom, I would hug. Donphan, I would hug. I would hug all of these, pretty much. So this is going to get an 8.5 out of 9 for me.
9. Yeah, that's what I was curious. This is a really huggable team. It really is.
There's nothing that's my only issue is the only thing I would really want to hug on the team is Palafin. Nothing I'm maybe Goldengo, but there's nothing I'm super excited to go hug. Maybe Rillaboom, but there's no cute small Mons that I want to hug and protect and give my love to.
Exactly.
So it doesn't get any bonus points for not having Spheal, but
Yeah.
8.5 out of 9 I think is where I leave it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good. Okay, next. PT Devil and the Stockton Heatmore. Okay.
All right.
All right,
So
let me
this
break down
team, you've got a pretty decent top end there. You've got with the Valiant, you got Jirachi, you've got Zygarde, you got Terapagos, which is not too bad.
Interesting. It's a lot of new mons.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think. You got Hazard Control is fine. Speed, because I think the Terapagos is base 85.
I don't have an immediate issue with anything just looking at the team. I think I need to see more. So if I look at weaknesses, fire is neutral, that's fine. Ice resist is Glastrier and Jirachi. That doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, this team could use a fire type, honestly.
Uh,
Yeah, this team just no fire type.
that and ground doesn't...
No, what? Wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, it does have a water type. Excuse me. I've missed Gastrodon for 2 seconds.
Ground... I guess you're a little weak to ground, but you're not terribly weak to ground, so it's weird. You've doubled up on a bunch of types. I'd be worried about this team running into like a good ghost, but then you have Terapagos. You're a little weak to fairy. I think there's too many overlapping types for me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because you got yeah, because you got double ground.
Okay.
You got.
I have my thoughts. I don't mind double ground. But let's if I look at speed
double...
tiers, I think this is like a bare minimum speed tier is having something 116.
Yeah.
I wish there was something. I think that's the lowest you can go. Is you need something at 116.
Yeah, I wish it was something a little higher, but I mean, it means you mean you're gonna run Scarf or Booster Drive Jug often enough. You're gonna have Monkey Dory be
What
Scarf.
are Terapagos' actual stats?
Yeah, they're not up here. The Terapagos speed is 85.
85. Okay, that's better.
And its defenses are 100. I mean, the thing is, the Terapagos, it's guaranteed to be to resist whatever.
The first.
Get one hit off always, so it's gonna be good. And I mean,
That's fine.
I mean, you're without its terraform. I mean, it's still gonna be. It could do good rest talk sets and just be a good defensive check on things.
So you have good.
I don't think there's ever.
I'll let you finish. There's good. Anyways, good stealth rocks. Hazards are fine. Removal is a little iffy for me.
It's a little, but it's not the worst.
Because you're either forcing Terapagos to have to run Rapid Spin, or you're bringing Rotom Fan.
Which I don't think Terapagos running Rapid Spin is that bad, honestly.
No,
on this set.
Not at all. But it's just you're kind of forcing them into roles. I guess the only thing I would look at as a potential change would be Monkey Dory. I don't like. I've tried to look at it and use it, and it just never feels good enough. Especially when you're already very strong on the special attacking side.
I think it's that or Jug need to switch.
You're right.
One of those two have pretty much the exact same roles.
Exactly. So Jug or Monkey Dory, I think, could easily flip to something else. And I think you would want to have something that could help with defog if possible. That's why I don't know which of the two. Granted, part of me would also be considering dropping both of them for something like Skuntank. Is there Poison Dark, and then you can find a different, because then you don't have to worry, but then you can just have more points to get something else. Because you already have, a Psychic and a Flying type already.
Yep.
So, I'm not sold on the team. I'm excited to see what it will do, but I'm not sold on this.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's definitely curious to see how it actually does.
I definitely like this team more than I like the. I can't.
Is it better than the Gastro Gang and Pete? And
I think
PT
I like.
Devils
I
team.
think I like this team more. Where's PT? You said PT.
Yeah, PT. We also gave a 7.
No, we haven't given 7 to at all.
Oh wait. Oh, sorry. I put a 7 on it. That's what I did. I gave it a 7.
I think I like it more than this team, which would give a 6.5. So
Yeah.
I would give it a 7.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think 7 is exactly where that falls. Let's look at huggability. Iron Valiant, I'm hugging. Jirachi, I'm hugging. Psyguard, I'm hugging. Terapagos, baby form gets 2 points because I would really hug it. I would hug it a lot.
Yeah. Because the thing is, and outside of battle, it will be this. So therefore, you will be hugging it more.
It gets
often.
an extra point for having a cute, adorable mon that I really, really want to hug.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I've decided I'm raking the scale. Iron Jugulus, I don't know. It kind of terrifies me. I think it could hug, but it seems scary to me. It's the same with Monkey Dory. It's like I could hug it. I could hug these, but I don't know if I want to. I might have to wear a jacket.
A half a points on each of those.
Half of those.
And then
It's
you
the same
hug
with
the last 3.
Well, I'd hug Gastro. I'd hug Gastro and Glastrier are obvious hugs. Rotom, once again, it's a fan. Yeah, of course I'd hug it. Of course. So I think you're getting a full.
And it has a little.
9
I think
out of
it's
9.
a 9 out of 9.
Yeah.
Because of the jug down halves and the Terapagos
Plus
bonus.
1. Exactly. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other like adorable mons I would definitely want to hug up here.
Either Palmont.
Palmont would be the only one I would consider adding an extra point to, because I would really want to.
Or Palmont and Chichino
Yeah.
on this team.
All right, we're gonna give Bloop an extra point. So they're gonna get 9 out of 10 on the huggability because those mons I really want to hug.
Yeah. Chichino would be super soft. Palafin is the only other one I would say.
It can't hug me back until it goes big boy form.
That's fair.
That's my only issue with that.
So
and granted,
yeah.
little turtle can give a hug back. I know that. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Next team. Stirfall and the Seafoam Snail. Okay, this is Stirfall.
All right, so you've got. It's a pretty interesting looking team here. You got some decent bulky offense going on. You've got Landorus kind of being able to set up sweet.
For having 11 mons, you're missing a lot of types.
Is he?
Like 4.
I mean, that's still
Yeah, but you're missing a couple, 2 important types in my mind, or 3-ish, fairly common. But
I mean, yeah, there's no dragon. That's fair. Oh well, no, there's a dragon. What am I talking about?
There's no ghost. There's no fighting. There's no fire.
Ghost is never a must, but it's always nice because it's a good, pretty much generally a good stab to spam. Fire, yeah, because you miss some of the defensive. Do you really need it?
No. It helps with the
not really. You've got stuff to kind of counteract that because you got a good steel, good poison.
Okay, let's
deal with the fairies.
Let's dive right on in. Ice Peak is everybody, but you have a lot of things for it. Flying is the only thing. This team's also weak to flying. Because Kilowattrel is your resist, and so is Probopass. And you can get around Probopass.
Yeah, you got Flygon that can do stuff, but yeah.
And then Fairy, but a lot of things are weak to Fairy. I don't know. I think it covers
the top 3 are not weak to Fairy.
No, which is the important part.
Yeah.
So I think that's fine. Speed tiers. I don't like the Sceptile, but I think it's fine. All right, so here's my thought. When having 11 mons, you need to make sure that if you remove the junk, the garbage mons that maybe come to one or 2 games, how does that affect your stats? Liepard, Sceptile, I don't see as coming in Probopass. I don't see as coming very often, and that leaves a hole between 101 and 125. Because I don't see them as threatening enough for me to have to care about very much.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think the 115s I would still run Adamant or whatnot, or can't Landorus. But okay, I guess it's fine. I wish there was some. I mean, it looks fine. I don't see a real issue with the speed tiers. You have Pursuing Samurott for spikes, which is really, really good. I really like that as a pairing.
That was a really nice pick up late. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's the worst running. I mean, running it with Feeny, I mean, it's kind of the dual electric grass is not great week-wise, but
I think this is a really solid team, actually. The more I look at it, hard for me to find flaws in it. I think the issue that I'm having with it is that the back end doesn't feel good to me. And I say that because Sceptile, Probopass, Liepard, I don't think are going to come, and you have a solid 8 Mons.
Yeah.
That I think you would always want to bring over those 3. So in my mind, I would drop the 3 of them because you're doubling up on Dark, you're doubling up on Steel, and you're doubling up on Grass already. So I would drop some of them for maybe something with Sticky Web as a thought, maybe, or actually get a Fire type, or actually get a Fighting. Get a good Fighting type. A lot of teams can't handle good Fighting types. So I would drop those and drop again a Fighting type or something with that and call it a day from there.
Yeah. I think that's about right, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's where I stand on that. I do like it, though. I think I like it more than Speak No Evil. Wait. I like it more than this team. I think it's a 9 for me.
Think it's still a 9? I wouldn't. I mean, there's a.
Maybe not. Maybe an 8.5?
I can see an 8 or an 8.5. I don't think I see it. Do I like it more than the Pala? Core, I'm more happy. I think it's an 8. I give it an 8. I think it's about the same as the Palafin.
I don't. I think this is better than this team.
Oh, actually, wait. That one was missing hazards. This one has.
It has spikes aren't on there because of Consuming Samurai.
Yeah, it's got a little better, and it's got plenty of defog too. 8.5.
Okay.
I'll give you 8.5.
And now we get to the more important rating, huggability. Landorus, I could hug. Tapu Fini, I could hug. Scizor, I could hug, and if it was nice. Venusaur, I would hug, and it would try and hug me back. Flygon, I would hug. Am I hugging everything? Frigoraph, yes. Kilowattrel, yes. Sceptile, yes. Student Samurai, yes. Liepard, yes. Probopass is the only thing I would be worried about.
How? Just because? I mean, it's just a metal. It's fine. You hug it.
But
it's got the little floaty. It's got floaty arms. It's got the floaty arms.
It's an 11 out of 11. It gets no special bonuses, but nothing that I'm worried about hugging that could hurt me back very much. Or hurt me. So, yeah, that's a full 11 out of 11, and that puts it in first place.
Yeah.
Great. Granted, I would rather, I think, hug... Which other team?
That team. Would you rather hug the Terrapagos team?
I'd rather hug Terrapagos. No. Because these two prevent it. I'd rather hug Terrapagos and then this entire team. But this team overall, I think I would rather hug.
This is the first pure perfect then.
Yeah, pure perfect for hugging.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but I would hug it. And that's the answer. Yeah. Great. Twee, Elephant, and the Carolina Q-Foots. Okay.
You've got a really good trio at the top because you've got the Slow King to check a lot of the fairies and fighting that want to beat the first two.
How'd you get a Namorous with this? Okay. My immediate thought is, what are you weak to? Because the first 7 Mons look great.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I just looking at the type chart, I'm like, ooh, interesting.
There's a couple of things that are iffy, and I think you just replace your back 3 with Mons that fill it better. That's my immediate thought.
Yeah, I think so. Something that actually has some top speed to threaten, aside from Enamorous.
Yeah, so just look at type, you're weak to ice. Granted, you have a Lomomola and Metagross, but you're weak to ice. That's never... And you're weak to fighting. Remember how I keep saying...
2 of those, yeah.
I mean, they resist it, but, most fightings also have a knockoff or an Earthquake or you can get coverage. Just, it becomes a spammable move if those Mons go down. Little weak to ground, weak to flying, weak to rock never feels good because it's going to force hazards.
Yeah. It's the Tinglu. The Tinglu, I think the double on the dark is not helpful here. Is the double on the psychic good here either? That's my other issue.
So the top 4 plus Enamorous, I like.
Yeah,
And
the Tinglu Metagross need to be something else.
I think they do, mainly because you don't have a special attacker. I mean, you have Kyurem, but Kyurem is weird. You have Enamorous, but Enamorous is mixed.
And Slowking can
Yeah.
can push something, but not much. Yeah.
I think what I would do is I would drop Tinglu or Metagross or both, and the Drifblim Lurantis Pyroar, and grab something else for speed, because you're really slow right now. This is a very slow team.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Slowking, grab Arctozolt.
Yeah.
I mean, potentially, or grab grab something else that can abuse the Slush Rush would be helpful, maybe, just to give you some extra thing to help go against that. Grab an electric type, please.
Mm-hmm.
It helps. Grab. I mean, I don't necessarily know what I would do in this scenario. I don't know all the mods that are available and what isn't, but like, King Gambit would have been really good with this team.
I think that was pretty early pickup, but yeah. That's something like, well...
You actually don't even need the dark type of Tinglu. You could,
That's the thing. That's the big thing. You don't need the dark type. You need just a different ground and steel. Honestly, I'd even consider like a ground steel outright. If you wait for the Excadrill to drop. If someone drops the Excadrill, this team could do so.
It could use it, but at that point, though, I'd want to throw in like a Gigalith. And run like double core. Double weather.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's fine.
Either that or grab like any other like just generic ground type would work. I think better than Tinglu. It would give you some points back. Because if you look at you need defog. Oh my gosh! I just looked at the hazard. Like you have some hazards, but like your defog is Drifblim and Lurantis, and that does not feel good. You also only have one U-turn and flip turn mon. And the reason why that's a problem is when you have Urshifu, Single Strike, or Kyurem Black, or even Enamorous, you want to get them in as much as possible, so you need a lot more momentum. You have Baton Pass with Alomomola, that's fine. But I think I would literally drop Tinglu, Metagross, Drifblim, Lurantis, Pyroar.
Wait a second. Iron Treads is free. Why is Iron Treads free? Slap an Iron Treads as a team.
Yeah, okay.
Swap Tinglu and Metagross for Iron Treads.
100%.
Look at that, right there. Right there.
That gives you another 106, which never feels good.
It's 10. Isn't it 108? Or is it is it really 106?
Yeah.
I thought it was 10. Okay. Well, it's like you get that, and then you compress everything else into something.
Yeah, that helps. That definitely would help.
Arctozolt's free.
I mean, I would potentially do that and drop and get Terra Arctozolt when it just becomes more aggressive.
You can't Terra it.
No.
So, I mean, it'd be...
okay.
Yeah, I mean, you still probably could be something else.
But yeah. I would definitely look at the Iron Treads plus something else, please. And then, like, even if you're grabbing, like, an Ambipom at 115, that would just help a little bit more. I would love to see, like... I'm trying to think of what else I would... Like, even the Lurantis for Sceptile here would have been better, in my opinion. From the previous team.
Contrary Terra is kind of interesting with it, though.
Terra Boltund would also work. Gives you 120 speed, electric type attacker with Terra. Doesn't get Terra Blast, but I'm just thinking out loud. But
there's some potential.
There are some other options. You just need more speed and better removal. So, Huggability. Oh, actually, no. What would you rank this?
Oh, the first 4 are pretty scary. Needs a little time, and plus Enamorous is really scary. Needs a tiny bit of rework, but pretty close. This is 7.5 or an 8.
I was thinking a 7. But I will go with 7.5.
I'd say 7.5 because it's got I think there's 5 mons here that could come every week and be stupid scary.
Especially if you get Iron Treads, then you have 6.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Alright, Huggability. Urshifu, I'd hug it. Slowking, I'd hug it. Kyurem, I'd be worried about, but I would hug it. Alomomola, I'd hug. Tinglu, I'd hug. Metagross, I'd worry about, but I would hug. Enamorous, I would hug. I would hug pretty much all of these, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not thrilled about hugging Slowking.
But you're not...
I'm not opposed to it either. I think it has to be a 9 out of 9, or 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think it is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's nothing that you're out like really fearing, like, burning yourself on a Rotom or anything else.
No.
Again, it's another team without a fire type makes
Correct.
it huggable. Well, I guess the Pyroar is not that burnable. Well, it has, yeah.
All right, cool. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to go.
6.
All right, we gotta pick up the pace.
Through
It's already an hour in.
All right. Yeah, let's speed it up.
Okay. So,
All right. Well, here's a rain team.
Cool. Boz. Let's see. Jump straight into the. I like the. Oh, okay. This is this team.
It's a rain team.
Oh, it's a rain team. Wrong team. Look at the type chart. That's phenomenal for a rain team.
Honestly, for a rain team, because you've got things like Swampert and Walking Wake and Duraludon that counteract a lot of the electric weaknesses.
I don't hate this at all.
And the grass weaknesses at the same time. Yeah, and you've got Quillfish that both fills a role and also can Swift Swim. You've got Oricorio that could spam Hurricanes. The only downside is Terra Raikou, because Raikou, it's an okay mon. Even with Terra, I think it's still an okay mon. That's about it. That's the honest downside. And also the fact that this team is gonna run rain.
The only speed tier I'd worry about would be 100-ish, just because.
I'd run speed on. Oh, I'd run speed on Tinkaton. I'd run speed to stop 100s. You would like a little bit bulk, but it's still. I'd run speed on it.
I think the speed tiers otherwise look great. It might be a little defensively weak. A little, because it's just Archaludon that can take defensive hits very, very well.
And Swampert can take some bulk.
Oh,
Swampert's got bulk.
It's
Swampert's
a bulky
got
team.
bulk.
I'm trying to see
It's got some bulk.
I would be worried about Toxic Spikes the week that Hisui and Quillfish just don't come. Just because Toxic Spikes look very good versus this team. I'd probably still bring it even with Hisui and Quillfish, because you're not going to bring that every week. Or want to bring it every week. Defog being only on Torn is but you have Serena. I think this is solid. I don't hate it at all.
I really don't. It's honestly, it could go, the fact is, yes, this is a rain team, but this is one of the best rain teams I've actually seen, period.
I'm curious
to
see
how
Trick Room.
Yeah, it's just the odd week that someone brings Trick Room against this team is going to be awful, but otherwise, this is honestly a 9, maybe even 9.5.
I'll give it a 9, yeah. Let's stick with 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then hug ability. Torn I'd hug, Walking Wake I'd be terrified, but I would definitely hug it. Mega Swampert I'd hug, Raikou I'd hug, Archaludon I'd hug, Ludicolo I would hug, Quillfish I wouldn't.
Yep, that's the only one I think this team you can't hug.
Definitely, that's the only one I definitely can't hug. I'm upset that Serena can't hug me back. I don't think it has arms, does it?
Does it? It should have arms. It's just really small arms.
Okay, never mind. The question is, how much do I want to hug Ludicolo and Politoad?
Oh, you're right, because those guys could give you bonus points here.
I think I would give it 1 extra bonus point because I love Ludicolo, and I feel like it would hug so well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 11 out of 11.
Yep, that's an 11 out of 11. Great. Okay. Dry.
D-Ray, Dry, I don't know. With him and the Zacius Zeraorus.
Okay.
Now,
this is interesting.
Top 4, really good. You got some pivot, you got some bulk power.
I don't like Florges. I do and I don't.
It is a big special wall, good wish pivot passer, but yeah.
But what are you wish passing to? Your walls, I guess Rotom and Landorus, but nothing feels good to wish pass to.
Landorus, I think so.
I guess
Landorus would be good.
I mean, Mega Scizor you can do it too as well, but it already has recovery.
Exactly.
You covered all the type weaknesses very well. It looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be a little worried about Fire still, just because the only thing that's really taking the hit is Rotom. I guess Appleton's there, but you have to bring the Appleton.
Yeah. If you bring Rotom and Bumble, you kind of
Farrier only resists Scizor. That does not feel good.
You do have Terra Zam, but yeah.
Terra Zam, I think, is a bad Terra. I said it.
I don't know. It's an interesting Terra.
It's
It
interesting,
could be
but
really good offensive breaking.
It doesn't get Terra Blast.
But then again, you have Bundle, which also does almost the same thing.
But it doesn't have Terra Blast. So like what Zam needed was a fire coverage to really be very good, or poison coverage, or something to help it out. And it doesn't, like, unless you want to run Focus Blast for dark types, but like dark, I guess fighting is what it really wanted, and not having Terra Blast means you have to risk Focus Blast, which never feels good.
That's fair, unless you run physical, but yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
I mean, yeah, it's still got a strong. I mean, it's still got a really decent move pool.
That's fair.
I mean that it, but I don't disagree with you.
No.
That yeah,
it's fine. If I look at speed tiers, look okay. I'd be a little, they're fine. I guess the speed tiers they're good enough. You have rocks and spikes. I guess you have some good defog, which is good. You have a lot of pivot.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but it fits all it checks all my boxes.
It's like a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah. I think 7.5 is exactly where it falls. I don't know how I'd fix it. I don't like Exploud.
You probably change. Yeah, I mean, I know you would probably drop the Florges, drop the Zam, drop the Exploud. I don't think you have to.
I might keep Florges around, but like I would drop Zam for a better Terramon. I just don't think Zam uses Terra well enough. He doesn't have the Terra Blast to be offensive, and it doesn't have the defensive capabilities to help it when you're going to be running Focus, like Magic Guard, Life Orb, or Focus Sash most times anyways.
Maybe something like an Azelf or one of the Pixies could be interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
That could be an interesting one there, because at least they would run Terra Blast. They can be offensive. They can be a little more support.
Ooh, an Uxie with this team looks really good. Or even as Elf. One of the two.
Exactly.
Either way. Hug ability. Iron Bindle, I'd hug. Scizor, I'd hug. I'd be scared, but I'd hug it. Landorus, I'd hug. Florges, I'd hug. Zam, I'd hug. Quillfish, I would not hug. Overquill, nope, not doing it. Rotom, I'd hug. It's better than the other ones.
The best of the Rotoms in that.
No,
it won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a washing machine. It won't burn you. It won't shock. It won't blow you away.
Appleton, I would hug, and I'd probably really want to hug it. Cobalion, I would hug. Exploud, I'd be scared to hug.
But you do it.
I would do it. It might be just a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the bonus point to Appleton.
I love Apple. I would hug it. It's such a good boy. Okay, next one. Oh, Grebo.
All right.
Okay.
All right. The draft gods really smiled on that with the first two. Like, oof, those guys are gonna break through and just be annoying to deal with. You have to build your team to just.
As far as a 9-mon team goes, this is pretty good.
Yeah. It's got hazards. It's got defog and rapid. It's got pivots. It's got two. It's got speed tier. You're missing that one slot.
Yeah.
You're missing that something between Mew and Zama.
Yep. Okay. Here is my hot take. I think this is a fine team. I'm not sure I would change much of anything. If anything, the only thing I would change is Diglett. There's better 1-point mons. Just grab a better mon.
Diglett's cute. I'd hug it.
Oh, grab better 1-point mons for the team. I'd hug it. There's no argument there.
Yeah. It'll do thing. I've seen a Diglett do work.
So have I, but you're missing a couple of things. Like, your team is weak to ground. Your team's weak to water. Like, you're relying way too heavily on your offensive pressure of Zama and Spectre just cleaning up. And Mew. It's all there. Like, Heatran's gonna have to be run. Like, you have it's a good team. It's gonna be hard to break through, but if, the right coverage is just gonna run through you.
That's fair.
Like, fighting ice looks so good versus team. Anything with ice punch close combat?
Yeah.
Granted, you're gonna force a lot of prep from other people, so it's makes sense. Like, I don't know, it looks good. You have all the hazards because you have Mew. Yeah, it's fine. I think this is a 7.5. I'll give
7.5 or an 8?
8. I give it an 8. It's definitely an 8. All right. So huggability. I'd hug Zama. I'd hug Spectre. I'd be worried about hugging Gliscor, but I'd hug Gliscor.
Yep.
I really want to hug Mew.
Yeah.
So I would hug Mew. Mew gets a bonus point for that. You're at 5 there. He's trying to be afraid of. Because of Flame.
Yeah. That one you might actually have to give it a no points on.
I wouldn't give it a point for Heatran. Gyarados, I'd also Mega Gyarados. I'd be terrified to hug.
Be terrified, but I would hug a
try.
Mega Gyarados over if you put me in a corner and you had to make me pick one. I'd hug a Mega Gyarados before I'd hug a Heatran.
100%.
For sure.
Oh, yes.
100%. The Jumbo Shrimp, I would do it.
Definitely. Amoonguss, yes. Komala, yes. Diglett, yes. But I definitely give points for Mew and give it a 9 out of 9.
Yeah, so you'd say... 9 out of 9?
Yeah,
okay.
Because Mew I really want to hug.
Yep.
Okay. Joshua. And the Hope Peak Deoxys.
Alright. Another good offensive duo of Psychic Fighting Dark and Ice. Very similar to a different team earlier.
Yeah, but better speed tiers, in my opinion.
Yeah. You got good speed tiers. You got really good breakers. You got the Raging Bolt.
You're missing a
on
base
the other
100. But you have 100.
Yeah, you're missing. You're just fine because of Roserade.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have something in that middle range, but it can pass for sure.
I'm still worried about fairy types. I understand you have Roserade, Talonflame, and Registeel, but I'm still worried about fairy types. Ground.
Yeah, I mean you kind of have to.
You're
but
super weak to ground. With Talonflame being the only resist, and that's weak to rock. Ground and rock can be paired super easily. That's a worry on my side. Type-wise, otherwise, you have one of every type, which is kind of cool. What's the bug type? Crystal. Oh, I missed it, yeah. Speed tiers, I don't think you need the Talonflame, but you have it for... I know the reason why you have it. Speed tiers are okay. You don't have your special attacker, I guess. I mean, you do special attack. You have attack. It's fine. It works. You have good hazards. Your hazard control is lacking. Because it's forcing Talonflame and Blastoise to come to every single game. Otherwise,
and you want to bring the first 4 to first 3 plus on probably
Registeel. The first 2
in
in Raging Bolt to everything. You don't always need to bring Registeel, but the first 2 in Raging Bolt you want to bring it to as much as possible. Sylveon's a great Terramon, so I think that's good. Roserade's good. They're I just wish you had better removal and better pivot. There's some, but there's not enough for me to be happy.
Yeah.
Because once again, you want to bring in your big hitters as much as possible.
Yep. So is this an 8 or a 7.5?
I think.
Or you think even better than that?
8. It's on par with the last team, in my opinion. Huggability. Gallade I'd hug, Weavile I'd hug, Registeel I'd hug, Raging Bolt I'd hug, Runerigus I'd be scared about hugging, but I would hug it. I think.
Yep.
Sylveon I'd hug, Roserade I'd hug, Talonflame I'd hug. I think I'd hug all of them.
Yeah.
That's an 11 out of 11. No bonuses, but 11 out of 11.
Yeah, Sylveon's maybe the only one, but I think there's other betters that I would absolutely give bonus points to.
I can see why people would want to give it an extra bonus point, but I personally would not, so there's...
Yeah.
And we're the ones doing the PRs, so there.
Exactly.
All right, Wild Path 3 and the Goldenrod Galvantulas.
Made one of the big spicy picks of the draft, going with their mascot Galvantula round 2.
Although they have what I think is going to be one of the steals of the draft being Terra Emboar. I can't tell you how excited I am to see Terra Emboar.
Yeah, that thing is going to hit super hard.
Okay. As far... Alright, now here I'm not thrilled with this. After looking at it, I'm not thrilled with this team, and that's because of the fire resist. Your fire resist is Hydreigon and Emboar.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good. You don't have a flying resist. You don't have a flying type, which is weird, but...
Yeah. You do have flying resist. You've got Empoleon and Earthworm.
Yeah, that's fine. Not having a fairy doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it doesn't. But
Um,
you've got hazards galore. You've got
You have a-
defog. You've got great pivots. There's a, and you've got you got Gothitelle, which could be interesting
this is a
with
very
this matchup.
memey. I don't want to say memey, but like very niche team of like, all right, I'm gonna bring Megalop, Ogerpon to every game, and then what? And what other assortment of anything else? Because there's
bringing
nothing here.
Eventually.
Well, maybe, but like everything else could or could not come.
Mm.
Like, there's nothing here that I see besides maybe the Golurk and the Orthworm, but like even then, they can. And I'm like, the Golurk is probably the only one I'm like, this won't show up very often. Everything else, I'd be like, this could show up week to week, every week, and I wouldn't bat an eye.
Yeah, it's the Empoleon dual type with Ogerpon is the only like little
and Earthworm
possible big sweep. Like it's literally like doubles up on those two. Like if you could swap that out, it probably fixes things. Oh my gosh, the speed tier needs to be helped.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you have good high speed, and then it just drops from 98 to 65, and you have a lot of 65s. So I think that's.
Albeit you can threat. I mean, you do have Galvantula's webs to kind of make it interesting, but still, it's like, those guys can run a lot of 0 speed 90s. Landorus, a bulky Landorus Therian is going to be annoying to deal with. Yeah. For example. But
I'm trying to think of like how do I normally beat Megalopony? Oh, I beat Megalopony by throwing in a good solid like ghost type that just can help a good ghost or psychic type. And I guess you have Hydreigon to help fight that, and you have Galvantula and Dual Scolipede, so that does work together. I'd be worried about hazards. Just your hazard removal being Hydreigon and Empoleon doesn't feel good. Because hazards are how I would beat this team.
But I would win with stacking the crap out of your opponent and then getting Mimlop in there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Megalomp loves spikes and hazards and stuff too. So
you've got so much hazard spam that it's gonna make it a menace to deal with. So.
Yeah, I'd probably drop. In my opinion, I would drop the Orthworm and the Golurk maybe for a different ground type that can, like maybe a Donphin.
Just a ground type that does both.
That can help with that. That can spin, or Claydol even maybe. Something that can.
It'd have to be a Claydol because I think Donphan sniped up, but something like that is not.
I just think I wish there was more hazard removal to help with, because hazards up against you is going to be the problem. Yeah, but otherwise, I think I like it. I like it
7?
Less than this team.
I think it's got to be a 7. I think a
7's where it's at too.
It's not a. It's definitely has just different weird typings all around and all over the place that I don't think I could give higher than a 7.
Okay, let's look at huggability. Megalopony, I'd hug. Galvantula, I'd be scared too, but I'd hug it. Same with Hydreigon. I'd be scared too, but I would try and hug it. I'd be more scared of Hydreigon than Galvantula. Gothitelle, I'd hug. Ogerpon, just. I don't think I would give this one an extra bonus point. Maybe regular Ogerpon, I'd give 2 points too.
Yeah, but, probably regular.
Yeah, because he has his masks back. Scolipede, I'd be scared to hug it as well. And then I'd hug the rest. But
so
I think I would give it a 9 out of 10 and give half points to Hydreigon and Scolipede.
Okay.
No, 9.5. Just Hydreigon.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. And we have. Is this the last one? Yep, last one.
Last but not least,
we have Jeg57.
Yep. And we got pretty fun team, honestly.
Okay.
I like it. It hits the speed tiers really well.
The speed tiers look really nice.
Decent hazards, okay hazard control. I like
the hazard control worries me because Hitmontop and Turton are not coming to a lot of games, so Zapdos is going to have to do a lot of it. And especially when you're running a Mega Pinsir, you need to have it. So it just forces Zapdos into being forcibly to running like Defog plus Roost every single week.
Which is fine. I'd run Defog and Roost on Zapdos every week. That one I'll be fine with. I mean, I'll in the weeks that I run an offensive, I'd be okay bringing a Turt
Yeah,
or top.
Or top. Yep, you just have to bring one or the other if you don't.
But Mega Pincer in this team is really fun. That and Boulder should pick apart a lot of these teams because a lot of teams are very flying weak, as we've seen, and Rock is a good weakness to spam across.
Granted,
so.
Look at this team and look at the weaknesses. You have Vaporeon as your only water resist and immunity. Water looks really good versus this team. Like an Iron Bundle just kind of runs through this team.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a problem.
That's a problem. Ground. You have 2 immunities, being Zapdos and Mega Pinsir when it Megas, and that's it. Like, there is no other... Like, nothing else there for ground. It's just super effective half the time, which worries me. And then Rock. You're weak to Rock, so hazards are going to come every week because you have Mega Pinsir. I think what I would rather do is... I don't like the Houndoom. I would rather a Houndoom be a Grass type.
Yeah, that probably fixes half this.
Or even...
Honestly.
Actually, make Hitmontop, Hisui, and Decidueye.
Ooh.
Because now you get to keep your Defog or Rapid Spin that you want, and now you get a Grass type that can help. And it's also bulkier. So I think I would lean more towards that route.
Yeah, and it should still have Roost. I'm pretty sure.
I think it does.
Rowlet. I don't know. That's the only question mark is that. But yeah, Decidueye is the right mon in that slot.
Yeah,
so much better. Oh my gosh.
That would help this team quite a bit. Otherwise, I think it's a really solid team. I think it...
No. Like a 7.5, 7.5, 8, 7.5.
Let's go with...
Somewhere in that range.
Let's go with 7.5.
Yeah.
Okay, and now for huggability. Iron Boulder, I'd hug. Zapdos, I'd be worried about hugging, just because it's prickly. Granted, I'm also terrified of hugging Mega Pinsir. That one scares me a lot more than Zapdos. But Nidoking I'd hug, Clefable I'd hug, Vaporeon I'd hug, Magnezone I'd hug, Hitmontop I would hug. Mousehold gets 4 points because I'd hug all of them.
Oh my goodness.
Turtonator I'd hug, and Houndoom I'd hug. So -1 for...
Zapdos, Pinsir, but give it 4, so that's 11. -1's 10, so 13? No, wait, 14?
Yep.
14 out of 11?
No, give it 13.5. Give it half to Zapdos, because I'd be worried about it still.
I think I gave it a half. I think I gave you the...
Oh, I'm not hugging Mega
Are you
Pinsir.
not? You're not hugging Mr. Pinsir? Okay, then yeah. 13.5
out of 11, because Mousehold is 4 Pokemon.
Yeah.
And if someone had Phalanx, I would have given you 5 points.
Yep, so that makes that team the most huggable team on here.
Yep.
Saving the best for last, I guess.
So we will, hopefully, Gio will put all this in the video and whatnot. But that is it for Mary. Or Mary, Acolyte.
Yep, Acolyte Mary and our Season 5 Fire Rankings.
All right, thank you everyone who tuned in.
Thank you.
Enjoy your season and have fun. Also, feel free to comment and tell me how my huggability is wrong. All right, take care.